Since last we spoke, Alfie, we've seen each other twice IRL, which has been
It's
mad.
impressive. Yeah. Usually it's like once in a blue moon, some would say. But no, twice is impressive, and it's been two great times actually.
Yeah, against all odds.
Yeah, usually it's shit, so it's lovely that it was actually quite nice. Yeah.
Case in point, episode 100, we filmed all that. What a mess.
You should have seen the editing job. It took fucking ages.
Deary me. We just wanted to delete it all. Just move on.
It near enough did. It near enough deleted itself. I can't remember if we probably spoke about this, but my God.
Oh dear. Moving swiftly on. One of the meetups we had was to see good old Jeff Goldblum. What do you think of that?
Phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect, if I'm honest. I went into it quite blind. I knew he'd be doing music, and I knew he'd have some guests singing. But no, it blew my expectations out of the water. It was excellent. I guess we can talk a little bit more about it, but I think it's worth mentioning your trip back to the train station on that evening, Adam.
Yeah, we spoke last time about your horrendous trip back from the Gorillaz concert, and I basically had the same experience after Jeff Goldblum, because he was bigging it up, rightfully so. It's not every day you get to perform at the Royal Albert Hall, but come on, we've got trains to catch, mate.
Places
We've got trains.
be, Jeff.
Was I going back to Bournemouth, right? I had to get the
Yes.
11 o'clock train or 10:35, I can't remember.
Yeah, 10:35. 10:34 was your train, and Jeff wrapped it up at 10:05, I believe, and you had two tubes to get.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's worse than I remember. But not only that, you basically, on the station you get out at Royal Albert Hall, you've got a 3-mile walk underground, basically the length of the Science Museum and the Natural History Museum, to just sprint down. So I was sort of skipping down. I was like, ooh, ducking out the way. I looked like Louise Spence on a cat,
What
on
a
a cat
reference.
session. They couldn't catch me. I was like a whippet. I absolutely spranned, I think is the technical term, and made it not only to get the train, but also nipped into Sainsbury's to get a meal deal. I mean,
It's impressive. You had to go get out of the Royal Albert for a start, which was packed. So yeah, then you had to get through all the people, like you said. Then you had to get from South Kensington to, I can't remember where it was. It must have been Oxford Circus or something. Then Oxford Circus to Westminster or something like that. It was, I don't know how you did it. I texted you. I was panicking for you. I was like, I don't know. He's not going to do this. He's going to be stuck in London all night.
and I had work the next day, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, always an added pressure.
Goodness. An excellent time was had by all there, though. Hello and welcome to episode 108 of Movie On Up with your hosts, myself, Alfie Walker.
And myself, Adam Barlow.
Here we are, raring to go. This is a Sunday morning record. Have we ever done a Sunday morning record?
Yeah, we've got a few in our repertoire. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we must have. We're at episode 108. There must be one in there somewhere. This is a bit of a shorter one. We've just got one film for Adam to talk about and a cool little thing to go with it, which is the main reason why we've dedicated this its own little episode. Really cool. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we've also seen Jeff Goldblum, so we're going to chat a bit about that to catch up, I think. But first of all, Adam, how are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. It was my birthday a couple of days ago. That was really pleasant. Went to a couple of bars, had a nice time. I've had a really nice week at work as well. Lots of professional wins. Every little day helps. Yeah, it's been nice. I'm enjoying the heat. It's not too bad yet, although, as I say that, I am currently baking in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Might have spoken too soon.
It's meant to get hot and hotter, I believe. I think by end of next week, it's touching the mid-30s and 40s, apparently, which is
Again.
insane. Global warming isn't real, though, guys. Don't worry. Yeah. You went and saw Harry Styles again last night, right?
I did, yes. And it was just as good. I had that nice dynamic where the first time I went, I was quite near the stage. Second time, I was right at the top. but actually not so far near the back as I thought we were going to be. We were row 10, and it was a restricted view, so we could only see the side screen. But it really didn't matter. We could see the whole stage. I mean, once he's out on stage, he's not going to go back.
Yeah, back in
too far back. So we could always see him at all times. So it was really fun. And not only that, because we could see behind the stage, we saw Shania Twain and Harry Styles running up the steps.
That's fun.
Before everyone else could see them. So we had a bit of like behind the scenes.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oversight, which is quite cool. Yeah, it was brilliant. Went along with Mum, who, considering like how much these tickets are, I mean, don't get me wrong, these ones were on the cheaper side, I think, but still about 100 quid. But for me, I was like, yeah, cheap as, let's go. But you know, still not pocket change. And then also with a 45 to 60 quid train ticket to get there, plus driving to Southampton halfway to make it easy to get back. It's quite a lot of planning and money that's gone into it.
Time and effort
My mum,
and cash, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I thought, right, well, I'm going to have to play the set list to Mum on the way up, because she knows she knows the big tunes, but wasn't familiar with the new album really, apart from American Girls and Aperture. So I was like, right, we need to do some revision here. And she said, about halfway through the trip, we were stuck in traffic. She said, I don't really know if I like him. And I slammed the brakes and I was like, you what? What are you doing here?
That's insane.
Anyway, we got to the concert. All good. We sort of... I have this bad habit.
Was it all good, Adam? Was it all good?
It was all good. It was a great night. It was the last night, a record-breaking night, 12 nights at Wembley. So it was a huge deal. His sister came out on stage. He mentioned all the 1D lads. Sweet Creature was the mystery song, which I love.
That's cool. Just
as good as Little Freak, which I heard on the first night. So I won. And it was brilliant, really good. And my mum actually was sat next to another sort of woman her age that was there on her own. She had friends sort of further down, or like family further down the in another block, but she got her ticket quite last minute, and she was there, you know, knocking back pints of cider.
Sinking.
She got quite drunk, I think. But she was the first one in our whole section to stand up and start dancing during Shania Twain. Like, she was up 2 songs in,
before Harry's
everyone else was
on.
like, "Geez, chill." But no, she was really lovely, and it was nice that they sort of had a bit of banter. And every now and then, Harry Styles would like wink at the camera, and they go like, "Yeah." So they had a good time, and I think my mum is now a good fan. I think you can't go to a Harry Styles concert and not enjoy it, unless you like faint. Loads of people fainted last night.
Really?
And this woman that was next to us, again, drunk on cider, said, "Teenagers of today, honestly."
So woke.
I'm kind of inclined to agree. I mean, I know people are queuing outside for ages, but like they're dropping like flies at concerts. Yeah. Certainly the last few I've been to. Do you know what's going on?
We even had a person at Gorillas. He was like a lad. He was like I don't know. I think he was about 17, because they weren't drinking alcohol, but they looked old. So he must have been about 17, maybe 18. It was him and his mates, and they were loving it. Like that's cool. But yeah, he like started to faint and was like going all fucking woozy, and then that to get escorted away by his mates. It's like,
what? Has this always been the case? Because I don't remember like cut back to maybe 6 or 7 years ago. It's like one's down every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't
it's
get
really
it.
awkward. Like don't get me wrong, the acts are always really understanding. They're like, "Is everyone good? Is everyone good out there? You all good out there? Good. Okay, moving on." But it's just it like really takes you out of it.
Yeah, it stops the flow and the cool like sort of the atmosphere,
the
of the
showmanship
concert.
of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, it's got to stop for someone who can't handle themselves. It's a bit odd, really.
I mean, health and safety first. If you've got conditions, absolutely fine. But
faint all you want.
Yeah, faint all you want. Go for it. Hell for leather.
We've both had quite a musical week as well, to be honest, because I went and saw Katy Perry as well on...
yes, of course.
When was that? That was Wednesday night. It was at Blenheim Palace, which was
cool.
an excellent little venue. It was fully seated, out in Blenheim Palace like courtyard, but obviously everyone stood up, which was amazing because we got tickets right at the front, and it means we could go for a wee before the show started, get another drink, do whatever you want, turn up just before the act, and you get your seat right at the front. It was excellent. She was really good. Played for like 2 hours. It was really fun. And then I guess the big thing to talk about, Adam, as we already mentioned, is we both saw Jeff Goldblum. How bloody good was that?
It was so good. I love his jazz, but I was actually really glad that it was something a bit different because I've seen a jazz concert from him before, and having listened to Night Blooms, it's kind of the same. A lot of the tracks are actually the same again, just on a different set list, albeit with like Charlie Puth and a few other big names chucked in. But I was really stoked that he did film scores and just good music, you know. It was brilliant, really good, especially with the orchestra. Like, you've got to capitalise on it, and he definitely did.
Yeah, I cannot hype up the Royal Albert Hall as a venue enough. I've never been there. I was meant to go there in lockdown, but the concert got cancelled, or before COVID. The venue, I know it sounds stereotypical because it's the Royal Albert Hall. It's known for being great, but wow, like, the music doesn't sound real. We both looked at each other and like had to remind each other that these people are playing on the stage. It's insane. That music wise, the venue is not like nothing I've ever heard. I think it would be amazing to listen to another artist there, or listen to like a film being scored there. And yeah, like you said, the fact that he came on and started with his Wicked songs, which was wonderful, wasn't it? And then he did Sentimental Man as well. He did No Time to Die as well, which was really cool. I think that was probably a highlight. For some reason, that was really, really cool. When the whole room went red, they were playing that. He did other songs from Wizard of Oz as well. He did If I Only Had a Brain, and then at the end he did Over the Rainbow, where he was singing. It was above my expectations, mate. I knew what it would be like, but they were blown out of the water. I thought it was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. It was so very good.
There were folks walking around with cameras, so I'm hoping that maybe we're going to get some sort of live album or a documentary kind of thing, or some video of it somewhere. That would be brilliant, because the London song that he did, I think it's the second song in. It was like loads of references to the UK, to his filmography. It was just really neatly done.
It was really fun.
I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely excellent. Should we talk about the one film that you're going to talk about this week? As I said, I have not seen this yet. I've been a busy boy. So has Adam, but somehow he's managed to see it. You're going to talk about Minions and Monsters, Adam, yeah?
I am indeed, with the help of this little guy, James.
So we have Minions and Monsters, directed by Pierre Coffin, who Adam's going to go into a bit more detail in a minute, which is very cool. This is the new Minions film from Illumination. What number is this? We've got, 4 Despicable Me's, and this is the 3rd Minion film?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 7 films, my goodness. And I think this is the highest rated of all of them.
It is indeed, yeah, which I think, it's a testament. You've got a cool thing, Adam. Take it away. What did you get to, or who did you get to talk to about this film?
Yeah, so via the BBC, via Radio Solent, there was an offer to speak to Pierre Coffin, who is the director of this new film. He co-directed Despicable Me and a few others along the way. Not only that, he is the voice of the Minions. So it goes through loads of modulation, but he came up with Minionese, which is just a blend of loads of kind of European languages and fun phrases and words, and a bit of nonsense chucked in as well, of course. It's sort of pitched up and sped up a little bit, but he is all the Minions.
He is the origin. He is that voice that you hear, as much as it's been twisted and contorted. That's so cool.
Yeah, and he was a lovely guy. He's sort of French-American, I think. I had only a short amount of time with him, but I've added some Minions clips in. He couldn't do it live, obviously, because it goes through processing, but spoke to Pierre Coffin. Here's the interview. It's really surreal to be speaking to you, because I was 7 when the first film came out, so
I've grown up with these characters. I was the perfect age for it. I've seen every one of them in the cinema. I've got to ask, now that the Minions have been made into memes, hats, T-shirts, they probably single-handedly backed the banana industry for the last 15 years. Did you have any idea they'd be this successful?
No. And also, we sort of appear intelligent, but I think we made mistakes and we sort of improvised our way forward, meaning that the Minions were not Minions when we started all this. In the first movie, there were these sort of tertiary characters that were humans, and we couldn't do humans, not at that scale. So we asked our designer, Eric Guillon, to make those maybe creature workers. And so he drew these creatures with overalls, and as soon as we started like testing them in animation, we sort of realized that their potential in terms of comic relief, and they had a whiff of main character personas, I guess.
And it's worked out really well, because I think it's an incredible achievement to just name 2 of the 3 primary colours. And I think most people, if you showed them the colours blue and yellow, they'd be like, oh, I'm thinking of the Minions straight away. It's that recognisable.
I know. Well, and that's all to the credit of Eric Guillon, the designer I was talking about, because I think that one also of the thing that made them slightly popular, I guess, is the fact that you can draw them very easily and recognize them very, very easily.
Salut Marco? Unado. King Bob!
Now, what about the voice? Obviously, you've voiced, I think, all the Minions ever, and there's millions of them. Where did that iconic voice come from?
Yeah, that came about just about the same time as we were sort of discovering that these guys were not tertiary characters. And at some point, I just, raised the question about, do they talk to each other? Do they say the hero's name, Gru, their boss's name? There were tests that were being done by the producer, acknowledged that it could be interesting for them to talk. So he had someone test the voice and had this engineer work on it. And what came back was something that was very strange sounding. It sounded like very mechanical, very metallic. I was doing a lot of commercial before working on feature films, and I used to do all my temp voices just for me. And I said, like, oh, okay, well, let me give you what I have in mind and what I thought would sound okay. And so I voiced like this little excerpt of this little animation clip, sent it to the producer, and the producer said, like, well, there you go, let's do that. And from one day to the next, I became the Minions voice.
Luca, c'est un banano. C'est la banana. Miam, miam.
What can we expect from your latest film, Minions and Monsters?
When I was asked to do this film, I asked if I could do it within a certain framework. I wanted to do something different than what was done in the 2 previous Minions movie, and I wanted to be able to tell the story in the way that I wanted to, and so that meant breaking the timeline a little bit. That's the reason why you won't find the regular Kevin, Stuart, and Bob that you've seen in the previous movies. Here in this one, you meet like other characters. You meet them in this context of Hollywood in the 20s, just because one of the Minions is passionate about storytelling, and when he discovers cinema, he wants to make a movie. And I thought that era would be the best ever, just to pay tribute to who were at the base of physical comedy and who inspired me and all the great funny people up until today.
James, you have a real gift for filmmaking.
Eureka!
Thank you to Pierre Coffin and to my colleagues at the Beeb, Tom and Alan, who both let me jump into it. It was the first time I used the studio to record an interview while on shift, which is really fun. And I had a load of fun in the edit, as you can tell. Pierre Coffin, what a nice guy. Really lovely, very generous with his time. They had some trouble logging on at the start, so I didn't have as much time as I would have liked. So there's some questions I didn't get around to asking. I wanted to know, like, what's his favourite Minion word to say? It's probably banana.
Yeah, or babble.
I just wanted some. I wanted some confirmation, or bottom. It's going to be one of those big hitters. But yeah, what a cool guy. Really grateful for the opportunity to have a chat with him.
So you've heard the interview, so now it's time for Adam's opinion on the film. Like you said, highest rated in the franchise so far. Yeah, go on, Adam. What did you think of Minions and Monsters?
It would be so funny if I'm like, Pierre Coffin, what a
Shit.
great guy, and then like, what a complete misfire. I'm so glad it isn't. This is a love letter to the golden age of cinema, and it works so
That's an
damn
insane
well.
thing to say.
I know. It's mad. It should be directed by Spielberg. In fact, this is better than Disclosure Day,
Disclosure Day.
which is now, we had Ella McKay, but now my bar for like what's naff is Disclosure Day. Minions Monsters is set in the transition period where talkies are just being introduced. Slapstick is all the rage. You've got people like Charlie Chaplin running amok, and there's loads of references to actors, to films, to the filmmaking process, and it centres around this guy, James the Minion, who is a big fan of storytelling. And what I love about this film is it picks up with the same tribe of minions that you meet in the 2015 film. There's no Kevin Stewart and Bob in this because it kind of fractions off and you follow a different group. Because, as I said, there's millions of them, despite what other people might tell you. Not naming names, Pierre Coffin. He said, I didn't leave it in the interview, but he said, well, there's not that many. There's only about 100. No.
This is wrong.
Have you played Minion Rush? They're all over the shop, mate.
Have you watched any of your own films?
Despicable Me, there's loads of them in that bunker downstairs. Like, there's
there's the bit
millions of them.
where he's going through the like elevator to go down to the lab, and he just passes them, and then that scene where he stands in front of them and goes, "We are going to steal the moon." And there's
Yeah.
thousands and hundreds of thousands of them.
And in the Minions film, they break the canon because in Despicable Me, they're like, well, they're creations of Gru and Dr. DeFario. But no, in the Minions film, they're around since the dawn of time. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway. Yeah, it follows the same kind of tribe, but they split off, and you see them go through the decades, through the centuries, having different bosses to the ones you see in 2015. So you've got a wizard, you've got a big cyclops, like a massive cyclops. There's a great joke with how the sort of punchline is they always kill them off by accident, and the way they kill off the cyclops is chef's kiss. That's all I'll say. You meet James, big fan of storytelling. He's always writing and drawing, and it gets round to they see what they think or what they believe to be is a Wild West chase. You've got this really cool gunslinger who's like chasing after a train, running away with bag loads of swag, and they chase after him. They're like, well, he can be our new boss. They keep going. They take out this whole train. The train then goes through Hollywood. And then it becomes apparent that it's actually a film being shot. And they've landed in the middle of it, and they've completely obliterated this take. It's awful. But the executives, they've got names, but they're basically the Warner Brothers, right? And one is really jovial and optimistic, and the other one is incredibly just grumpy and pessimistic. So it's quite fun. They play off each other like that. Sort of good cop, bad cop situation. And the director is voiced by Christoph Waltz, and he initially dismisses them, like, you ruined the film, get out of my sight. But later on, he screens the film in front of these two brother film execs, and they're like, we love it, this is great, get them back. So he then has to cast all the minions in a film, and they're really good at it, right? And there's it proceeds to be a huge montage of them starring in films, but their ultimate downfall is the fact that they can't speak English. Right? So they're given these scripts, there's cue cards, and the crew are like, say this, and they've got to go in for a kiss, and they're like, give me your lips, but they say like, oh, smudgy, like, it's just it's so daft. And they basically get kicked out of Hollywood, and their mansion that they own is taken away, and they're basically thrown out on the street. And it's really sad. Until James, one night, they're squatting in this sort of lowly factory, just full of puddles, and it's damp and it's awful. He's there writing his own story, and he's like, why don't we make our own film, Minions and Monsters? All they need is to get a monster. So they go back to this old wizard's lair who had this book that can conjure monsters. They conjure what they think is going to be this huge beast. It turns out to be this tiny, it's in the trailer, this tiny little green guy voiced by Trey Parker from South Park. And he's called Goomy. And he seemed, you can tell he's got some ulterior motive, which does come out towards the end. But he's like, okay, I'll help you get some monsters. But actually, there's betrayal, there's deceit. And then it ends in a whole big kaiju battle, basically. What more do you want?
What more do you want from your Illumination Universal Pictures animated film? Does it hold itself the whole way through? Because honestly, from what you've been saying there, it sounds just really fun and a bit silly, and exactly what you want from a Minions film, to keep an adult entertained as well as a child. I've been told there's loads of references to Hitchcock and stuff in that initial bit. Does it actually hold itself the whole way through and finishes with a decent end? Is it actually, does it do that?
I think so. Yeah, I would say, if I had one critique, it gets a little bit messy in the middle. When they bring in fact, not even in the middle, it's towards the sort of the back third, really. The monsters don't really come into it until the end, which was not a problem for me at all, because it spends more time with the filmmaking and Hollywood, which I love. All that stuff, 10 out of 10. The slapstick is excellent. The jokes all land. It's hyperactive. It's silly. It's funny. It just all works. Then you get the Trey Parker little monster alien in it. And for me personally, he's doing the same voice as Kenny from South Park, right? Which is a little bit grating. And my only critique is, when you've already got the minions who can't speak, you've then thrown in Goomy, who's got these tendrils in front of his mouth, and he's got this sort of kind of squeaky voice.
Yeah.
And then to add to that, you've got Jesse Eisenberg voicing Dort, who is this robot overlord who lives with a housemate and is just really pathetic, who actually, he's there to overtake Earth, but then falls in love with a woman's suffragette, woman's right activist. I'm not kidding. And then the minions, so I completely missed this part out of the plot. The minions get women the vote in this film, by the way. I'm not kidding.
That's so funny though. That's so good.
It is. It is brilliant. Jesse Eisenberg I loved in this. He's so funny. He completely gets it pitch perfect, because you're not quite sure basically if Dort is just a guy in this costume or if he's actually a formidable robot. And I won't spoil it, but either way the outcome's funny, because it keeps you guessing. And yeah, he though he's got this robotic voice, but it works. He's great. I think Goomy is just a little bit one step too far. I think he needed to be a bit more threatening, and the voice needed to be not as irritating, basically, because you've got three factors. You've got Dort, Goomy, and the minions, none of whom can really speak.
Yeah.
So you've got
absolutely.
you need the straight man to cling on to. And I've said this to a couple of mates who have seen it as well, and they're like, "What are you on about? What do you mean straight man?" I'm like, "How do you not know this rule of comedy?"
Are you a homophobe, Adam?
No. I mean, in the world of comedy, you need to have silliness and this daft, messiness. But in order for that to be funny, you need something
To tie it
serious and down the line. Yeah, to be to react to it. If you've got loads of idiots running around, you run the risk of it getting a bit irritating. But if you have one person that's like that's funny, you need someone to undercut it.
What Gru does in the Despicable Me films against the Minions.
Yes,
I think that
exactly.
Is where I think that is where the Minions films don't hit it for adults like the Despicable Me films do, because the Minions films are focused on them and they are the kid element of it, aren't they? It's purely the kids love Minions making the silly voices and stuff, and I think that's where the Minions films struggle. And I think especially that first one, because I remember watching it with Lenny and being like, oh God, is it just the minions making silly noises for an hour and a half, 2 hours?
I love that film though.
I know,
I do love that film.
It's got the British elements in that is really quite good.
There's one scene, sorry, as a tangent, there's one scene in that where, they're getting tortured, Kevin Stewart and Bob in the dungeon, and you've got Herb, voiced by John Hamm, who is such a doofus in those films. And he's like, oh, it's me, blurb. And then he takes, like, later on in the scene, he's like, just kidding, it was me, Herb, all along. And it just cracks me up every single time. I love that movie.
They're good films. I said to you the other day, I think Minions have gone past the point of they became like a social annoyance. Like the first Despicable Me film was great, and then after that, I think they became quite an annoying IP. I think people didn't like the Minions, but I think they've gone full circle, and people actually now really like the Minions, and I think they hit the humour on the head with the Minions. I think they know what they're doing. It's silly, but I think the references to real world stuff is really helpful. And then you said the torture scene in that first film is such like an adult-y joke. It really helps to bring it full circle. I'm glad you thought this was good. I do need to catch it. It hasn't been out too long.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a really good time. Again, apart from that one critique where it sort of spirals into too much silliness, I think the rest of it's great, and it ends on such a brilliant note. There's so many fourth wall breaks, and as you know, I love all that stuff. So it's just a good time. It's really well made. You can tell from my chat with Pierre Coffin that they all know what they're doing. As you say, they've got it nailed down to a T, and they know where the line is. They know what to do with the characters, and there's enough in it for adults. If you're a film fan, you'll pick up on loads of references. I'm sure I missed loads as myself. It's just great. It is, as I say, a love letter to cinema, which is a surprise to, I think, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Bit of a shorter one today, just to get the Minions review out there while it's still hot. But keep your eyes peeled for another episode coming, hopefully sort of this coming week. We should get one out. In this episode, we did get an email from someone telling us their favourite Pixar films, and it spawned the idea that we are going to ask you what your favourite Pixar films are. So please get in touch with us. Obviously, after our ranking last week, we want to see who's different, what different people feel. Get in touch with us. It's hello@movieonup.com.
And you can head to our socials, Instagram and TikTok. Handles for both those platforms are @movieonup.
Look at that. Swift episode, mate. In and out. Nice one.
Gosh, it was clinical.